top story on ABC News Breakfast, Indigenous leaders have condemned yesterday's violent protest in Canberra. Julia Gillard has shrugged off the security scare at the Australia Day function.
The Prime Minister and Opposition Leader Tony Abbott had to be bundled out of a restaurant when protesters from the Aboriginal Tent Embassy tried to storm the event. They were angered by comments Mr Abbott made, suggesting it was time for the Tent Embassy to be taken down.
For more, Andrew Green joins us now from Canberra. And Andrew, what's been the Prime Minister's reaction to yesterday's fairly dramatic events?
Melissa, at times it must have been quite frightening to be the Prime Minister or the Opposition Leader as they were surrounded in that Canberra restaurant, and the security detail uttered those words to the Prime Minister, suggesting that there was a threat. But the Prime Minister has appeared cool, calm and collected throughout this ordeal, and a short time after this all occurred and she and Tony Abbott were bundled out of the restaurant together, she did speak at the lodge where she was hosting another Australia Day reception, and she said that she was fine. I have certainly spoken to federal police sources who say that throughout the afternoon she was a little bit shaken up, but did appear to be handling it quite well. And she did speak to reporters after the event yesterday, and this is what she had to say.
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, the only thing that really kind of angers me about it is it disrupted such a wonderful event for great people. Emergency services medals, just amazing people. So.
Do you think Mr Abbott should apologise for it?
Look, I'm all fine, and the thing that's angered me about it really is that it was just such a wonderful event. We had people there who deserved to get the first National Emergency Services medal.
Are you upset about losing the shoe?
Look, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Julia Gillard there, certainly very cool and calm. But what's been the reaction from other Aboriginal leaders about yesterday's events?
There's certainly been widespread condemnation of those scenes that we've seen, and unfortunately Australia Day 2012 around the world is now being seen through what happened yesterday. I've certainly received lots of messages from colleagues overseas who've seen these very ugly pictures, but there's been instant condemnation from the likes of the former ALP President and Indigenous leader Warren Mundine, who says no human being, let alone the Prime Minister or the Opposition Leader, should be treated in this way. And Mr Mundine has suggested that those involved should face the full force of the law. Now, we know that won't happen. The ACT police say that at this stage they don't expect to lay any charges over the scuffles yesterday, so it will just be allowed to rest in that sense. But other Indigenous leaders, such as the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Social Justice Commissioner Mick Gooder, he's released a statement overnight in which he condemns this. He says an aggressive, divisive and frightening protest such as this has no place in debates about the affairs of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So some scathing words there. We know that the ACT police will review the incident, but at this stage there'll be no charges laid. But certainly there is a lot of anger about what has happened.
This is a fairly unusual situation in Australian politics for this sort of direct violence towards political leaders, but there's been plenty of praise for the Prime Minister's handling of the circumstance.
Absolutely. It was a fairly frightening situation, as we say, at some stages, and Julia Gillard has received a lot of praise for the way she initially reacted to the threat. And inside the restaurant, she was obviously there for a bipartisan event with the opposition leader, and the protesters involved say that their anger was directed more at the opposition leader than the Prime Minister, following some comments made earlier in the day about the Tent Embassy, which is marking 40 years of existence. But when you watch what the Prime Minister did initially after being told about the threat and her immediate concern for her fellow VIP Tony Abbott, she's received a lot of praise for the way she handled that, and we should take a look at how that transpired yesterday.
Right, okay.
We feel that the situation could deteriorate if we stay too much longer.
Okay, all right. Then what about Mr Abbott? Where have we got him? Help him through too, haven't we?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think it would be very easy for that glass to smash to the crowd look for everyone. So would they like us to go straight away?
They'll let us know, but we'll just... no, I think I'm fine. I'll just put it together when we're...
Sure.
Okay, no problems.
Certainly an unusual circumstance in Australian politics. Just before we go, Andrew, is there any word from either of the leaders today about following those efforts today? Are they changing their plans or security arrangements for today, or have we not heard anything yet?
No. Certainly they haven't been telegraphing what they'll be doing today in terms of any change plans. I believe both leaders are sticking to their original plans, and this incident has now by and large over, but there is also expected to be more reaction from the local authorities here in the ACT. There are some questions being asked about why both leaders were allowed to be in a vulnerable situation so close to the tent embassy yesterday, but certainly there has also been praise for the close protection unit that guards the Prime Minister and the opposition leader for the way that they were able to extract both leaders safely into a waiting car.
Andrew Green in Canberra, thanks very much.
Thanks, Melissa.